Welcome back, I'm Ren from Blue Gaming, and today I'm showing you how to make a budget Righteous Fire character. Now, in this video, I'm not going to be going over the whole skill tree and different ways to actually get to the point where you can transition into a Righteous Fire character, because there is hundreds of ways that you could do that. In this, I'm just going to be talking about the gear that you should use to get the most bang for your buck and try to make it as cheap as possible. So let's just get right into it. This is what I used to start out with. This is gear that I transitioned at about level... I was about level 70 when I transitioned into Righteous Fire, and this is what I used. The Vertex, Red Beak, Voidbringer, Bated Breath, Solaris Lorca, Rainbow Stride, Rise of the Phoenix, Shaper Seed, Void Eye, and yeah. Let's just break down all of this and why you want each of these and how much each of these costs currently. Now, if you're watching this in the future, the price might have changed a bit, but overall these are pretty cheap items to begin with, so I don't really see them jumping up too much in value. So let's just start out with Red Beak, the Rusted Sword. This is currently going for 1 alchemy, and really we're just using this to use our shield charge, because we want this to have 1 green and 2 red gem slots so that we can run faster attack support, shield charge, and fortify support. Now, we want that so that we actually have a movement skill that we can use often enough, just to show it off a little bit. Whoa, that was some lag, but yes, we can use that to just charge right through packs of enemies, and so we want it like that. I highly recommend that you do not level up your shield charge and fortify support for a while, because I've seen one issue that some people have is they will over-level their shield charge and fortify support to a point where if they take off another piece of armor, they will lose so much of their strength value that they can't use it anymore. I recommend stopping when the requirement goes above about 120 strength. That's when I recommend stopping, but you'll have to figure that out as you go along and make your character. Moving on, the Voidbringer Conjurer Gloves. These are going for 1 chaos currently, and this is where we are putting our Righteous Fire right now. These just help, they just help with energy shield, and it does increase the mana cost of skills, but we're not using anything with a mana cost on here, so it's not that bad. For this, we want to have 3 blue gem slots and 1 red one, and that is because we're using Righteous Fire, increased area of effect support, increased burning damage support, and Ellie Focus support. So that is all just to, this is our main attack for this, as you should know. So increased area just makes it bigger. Burning damage support just has it deal more damage, and then Ellie Focus is even more damage. So moving on to the Bated Breath, this is going for just 1 chaos. It does what we want. It gives us more energy shield and more energy shield recharge rate, just exactly what we want. Moving up, Solaris Lorca, the Copper Plate. We are using this mostly for the line Chaos damage does not bypass energy shield. This is the main reason why we're using this. When you switch to something else, which the recommended thing that you switch to is Shavron's Wrappings, which are currently going for somewhere between 6 and 8 exalts, so that's pretty expensive. This Solaris Lorca is going for a single alchemy right now, and if you switch to something else, just make sure it has the line Chaos damage does not bypass energy shield. Now, I don't really know of anything else besides Shavron's Wrappings and Solaris Lorca that have that line, but if you find something else, then maybe you could switch to it. Moving on to Rainbow Strides. I don't really know why I'm using Rainbow Strides. I just saw Pox use them, and so I decided to use them as well, and they worked for me. Gives you more energy shield, more elemental resistance, the movement speed is nice, and the chance to block is nice too, so it's just exactly what we want. I almost forgot to mention, back over here on the Solaris Lorca, doesn't matter the gems, you're not really using anything important here. For the Rainbow Strides, this is where we put Clarity and Purity of Ice. I currently don't run Clarity because I don't have enough mana for it, but yeah, Purity of Ice is fairly important. Moving on, our shield. This shield is vitally important when we are starting off. This Rise of the Phoenix Mosaic Kite Shield, because of the amazing amount of fire resistance that it gives us. As you can see, we get 24% increased fire resistance, then an extra 25% increased fire resistance when we are at low life, and because we're playing low life Righteous Fire, well, that kind of just lends to it. Then we also get movement speed when we are at low life as well, and this gives us life regeneration and increased armor and energy shield, so it's exactly what we want. For this, we don't really put anything on here besides Purity of Lightning. You can move these purities around. The only things that really matter about what we put on them are the Vertex, Redbeak, and Voidbringers over here. And also this Void Eye, which I guess I'll get to now. Void Eye costs 1 Chaos, has 1 socket, and it says +5 to level socket of gems. That's where we put our Purity of Fire. Now, it doesn't really matter what level Purity of Fire is, you just want it to be at least level 13. I found that before I got this up to level 13, I started with it being about level 5, which was way too low. When you get up to about level 13, that's when you will have the +5 from the actual Void Eye Ring, bringing it up to a level 18 Purity of Fire. That gives you pretty much enough fire resistance to not die while using Righteous Fire. So, moving on, the Shaper Seed is the cheap version to the Eye of Cheula, which is a cheap version of Presence of Cheula. So this is just what we use. It's 1 alchemy, and it increases our mana regen rate and gives us life regen per second, so that's pretty good. Also gives us extra strength and intelligence so that we can use our shield charge, fortify, blood magic, and vit. Moving on, the other ring, this is the 1 flex slot so far for the budget build. This is just a ring that I happened upon, and I've been using it because it gives me an amazing amount of dex, plus the energy shield and all elemental resistance, plus the life regen is pretty great as well. Now moving on to the most expensive part of this, that is the Vertex. Now this is the only mask that you are ever going to need. Once you get the Vertex, you don't have to upgrade it ever. You want this to have 2 red sockets and 2 blue, and that is because the 4 things that we run on it are blood magic support, vitality, discipline, and enlighten support. Now, if you've looked up the prices of some of these things, enlighten support currently goes for something like 20 chaos, if not more, for a level 2 enlighten. You can actually leave enlighten out, but you also have to leave discipline out, which gives you a lot less energy shield. So you can run just blood magic support and vitality to begin with, and then later on, once you have the currency for it, you can buy Enlighten level 2 and start running Discipline. For blood magic, you're going to want a level 20 blood magic, but if you're not using Enlighten, you can use a lower level blood magic support and then level it up as you go. Then the other thing you're going to want is Vitality, and this just lets you survive. So once you have all that, I currently have in my bar Purity of Lightning, Vitality, Purity of Fire, Discipline, and Purity of Ice, and then also Righteous Fire and Shield Charge. Once we get it all together, it will look something kind of like this. And there we go, you can see I have almost all of my mana reserved, just enough to cast Shield Charge, and then I have almost all my life reserved with a large energy shield left over. This is essentially what it's going to look like. If you mess something up, you will have your shield start to go down. So if I were to say take this off, okay, I don't even die then. That's weird. Let's get this back up. Let's see if I took this off. No, that's a bit of a problem. Okay, so apparently I can't get it. Oh, wait. There we go. Duh, if I wasn't being stupid. As you can see, that's what it'll look like if you mess up this build. But getting it all together, it might look like that, and you will be able to keep that. Now, I just need to go back to town to actually put all my stuff on correctly. So here we are back. And then this is what it will look like. There will be a calculator that I put in the description of the video where you can go and put in what different purities you're using, and if you're using blood magic support, and just different things to make sure that you have enough life left over after you've reserved all of it, and then enough mana left over after you've reserved all of it to actually be able to run this without just dying instantly or not having enough mana or life. Now, some budget upgrades that you can actually go to. Eventually, you can go over to Durrani's Catalyst, which, let's see how much this is actually going for. This is currently going for anywhere between 5 and 10 chaos. I spent about 8 for mine. This you want to have the 2 red and the 1 green socket just to completely switch with Red Beak, and this one's great because it increases our elemental damage, and that's just exactly what we want. Some other things that you can do are upgrade the Rise of the Phoenix to a Titanium Spirit Shield. This is another very expensive part. To get the right kind of Spirit Shield, you'll usually end up spending, from what I've seen, about 60 chaos on this shield. And once again, this is just to really put Purity of Lightning in it. On top of that, the Rainbow Strides can eventually be upgraded to something like Gang's Momentum, which gives us amazing energy shield and fire resistance and movement speed. Or what I went to was the Goldworm Nubic Boots, but those are costing quite a bit nowadays. Yeah, about 25 chaos is what those are costing. These Gang's Momentum are actually kind of cheap, relatively cheap. As you can see, 1 alchemy. If you want to move somewhere between the Red Beak and the Durrani's Catalyst, because maybe you don't want to spend the 10 chaos on it, then a Ephemeral Edge is also something that you can pick up. But these are about the same, although you can usually find these for between 4 and 5 chaos, as you can see there. Then you have the Eye of Cheulas, which are currently going for some amount of chaos. As you can see, about 10 chaos as well. So those are some of the upgrade options. You definitely don't have to get things like these Nubic Boots. These For anybody wondering why I have these boots, it's for the increased quantity of drop rate. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for all the budget stuff. You are going to want to upgrade your flasks eventually. The main one that I use is this Witchfire Brew Stibnite Flask. This creates a smoke cloud and grants level 21 vulnerability against everything around you. So, just a whole bunch of damage boost in this one. The problem is this Witchfire Brew is currently costing about 10 chaos. So if you want to spend that money, then go ahead, and this is the first high-end flask I would recommend getting. The other ones that I have are a Quicksilver flask that removes freeze and chill. I also have a Ruby flask that removes shock, and then I have a perpetual Stibnite flask of dousing. This is so that I can turn off Righteous Fire, which, if you don't know what that looks like, we have that. And then if I ever need to turn off Righteous Fire, I can just use this flask and instantly turn it off. And you can use any flask that has the of dousing in the title. It removes burning on use, and it gives us immunity to ignite during the effect. But it's the remove burning that really lends to turning off Righteous Fire. So that is pretty much it for this. I almost forgot, actually. Showing defenses, we are currently at 90, 79, and 80. So pretty high. You can actually, with some extra currency put into this, actually quite a bit of extra currency put into it, you can get these all to 100%, but that is not for a budget build. Then also, going into the skill tree, you will want to pick up some Healthy Mind Cobalt Jewels. These are the budget version of the high-end jewels, which I'm forgetting the name of right now. Okay, so I finally remembered what it was. The other gem is the Energy from Within Cobalt Jewels, which, if I pull this over real quick, you can see that these are running for anywhere from 190 chaos all the way up to about 3 exalts, which is pretty expensive, where these Healthy Minds are running for usually about 1 chaos. So a much cheaper option. You will need 4 of these, one of them to go there, one here, and one over here. It doesn't really matter what you start off playing Righteous Fire as. You will usually have these 4 slots open. I'm playing the Templar version of Righteous Fire, so that's what I have these slots as. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I don't know how many more of these guides I'm going to be doing. If you guys want to see more, then maybe I'll make more of these. But yeah, that's going to be it for this. Remember, I'm Ryden from Bluewood Gaming, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.